My tenant is late with rent. What can I do? If a tenant does not pay the rent on the date it's due, the landlord can give a form called Notice to End a Tenancy Early for Non-Payment of Rent, which is commonly known as an N4. This can be issued the day after the rent was due. The notice, N4, gives the tenant 14 days to pay the rent that's owing or to move out. If the rent is not paid and the tenant does not move, the landlord can apply for the Landlord-Tenant Board that requires a tenant to pay the rent that is owing and or evicts the tenant if they do not make the entire payment by a deadline. An adjudicator will make a determination and an order will be issued to all of the parties. My tenant is not paying rent because they're claiming a maintenance expense. A tenant cannot withhold rent based on perceived maintenance not being done. If a tenant is withholding rent, a landlord should file a notice of termination for non-payment, commonly known as the N4, as soon as possible. If the rent is still not paid by the deadline on the N4, the landlord should file the application to evict and obtain an order for the outstanding rent. This is commonly known as an L1. However, a responsible landlord will also investigate the claim for maintenance by providing a minimum of 24 hours written notice to enter the unit to review any maintenance needs. It is prudent for a landlord to document the findings and share the information with the tenant to ensure nothing is missed and that everyone understands the course of action. If no maintenance concern is identified, this too should be documented and communicated to the tenant. The tenant has up to 1 year to file an application against the landlord, and it could take another 6 to 12 months before a hearing takes place. Maintaining adequate documentation ensures memory and evidence should a tenant attempt to take action against the landlord.